to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna get the engine lifted up for the Maverick, and I'm gonna try to get the oil pan put on. But first, before I put the oil pan on, I have to put an adapter on because this is a front sump oil pan, and the dipstick in the 5.0 is in the rear of the engine because that's where the pan, the sump on the pan on that engine is in the rear. So for the Maverick, it has to be a front sump. So what I'm gonna have to do is plug the hole that the original dipstick was in and put a provision in the front sump so that the dipstick can go in there. That's what I'm gonna do in this video. The Ford F-250 actually has the adapter, so I ordered the adapter for a Ford F-250 because they have that little provision in the, excuse me, in the front sump of the pan. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video, try to get the oil pan and stuff on. I'm also gonna test fit the headers and see if they are fit before I actually paint them. So I'm gonna have to do it, like I said in my last video, I couldn't really do it because the engine was down on the ground on the tires, and I couldn't really put the headers on and see if they fit like normal. So let's go ahead and go up to the shop and get started, and I'll come back to the video when I'm there. Okay, got the backhoe, got the engine lifted up again, took the oil pan off. Getting ready to put the other oil pan on. I got to go get a gasket for that. My pickup tube didn't come with a gasket, so got to get a gasket for that. And over here, I drilled a hole in my oil pan for the oil pan adapter, oil stick adapter, dipstick adapter. But I got to get a Dremel now because the hole is not quite big enough to put this on. So I got to get that going, and I'm gonna get the gasket set up on this pan, let it dry. While it's drying, I'm gonna go to the parts store to get a gasket for the pickup tube and probably get this painted, touched up, painted on once I get the pan on and everything down. All right, I took the transmission lines off because they were all bent up and they need to be replaced anyway, and it'll actually be easier to put the engine in with them off. Also gotta put some JB weld on my transmission dipstick tube. I cut that when I was cutting the exhaust off, so, and that's where all this fluid is leaking from. So I got some JB weld. I'm gonna get that cleaned up and put the JB weld on it. There's no pressure in this dipstick, so JB weld should hold it just fine. I'm gonna get some of these other brackets and stuff off so I can get this transmission cleaned up and painted. Okay, so I got the dipstick provision in the pan. Got it from both sides. So what I'm going to do now is, if you look at it from this angle, you see where the lip of the pan is kind of getting in the way. So I'm just going to cut a little notch out there so that the dipstick tube can fit in there, and it doesn't have to be much, so it shouldn't affect the sealing of the surface of the pan. Dipstick actually fits in perfect, so I don't need to notch it out any. So glad I decided to test it before I cut it. So, all right, well, let me move along. All right, so got the dipstick out. You saw where I tested that, and now that hole where the dipstick was, I'm gonna thread that, put some sealer in it, and put a bolt in it to keep oil from coming up out of that. And I got my tap right here, and let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, got my oil filter tube threaded. You can see the threads in there. Not sure if you can. Let me see if it'll zoom in. Got that threaded. Just got to go to the store and get a bolt to go in it. And over here, I got my oil pan gaskets. Got it set. Let me show you something about a Ford that makes me really not like Fords more and more. This gasket that sits inside of here doesn't sit in there flush, because if you see, it got a ridge right there, and there's no ridge on the back of there. So, and the gasket has to go this way because you see how that tab goes up under there. So it's just almost like it just sits on a ridge. So I'm just gonna have to use a whole bunch of gasket maker on it and make sure that that doesn't seal, or that that seals good on both sides. So another thing that I don't like about Fords. So Chevy, They're you don't have to use Permatex on it, and all the gasket seems to seal up. So, all right, well, let me go to the store and grab the stuff that I need, and I'll come right back. Okay, got the pickup tube on, and I got the bolt inside of there with the sealing around it, and getting ready to put the oil pan on now. All right, ran into an issue. Broke off 2 oil pan bolts. So I'm in the process of trying to get those taken off right now. I had the oil pan on, but I took it off because the seals that go around here kept moving. So another reason for me to not like Ford. I also test fitted my headers, and every spark plug pretty much gets real close to the back of every tube, to the point to where I don't think you'll be able to get a spark plug wire on it. So I'm gonna have to probably dent every tube and use a 90-degree spark plug boot. So not what I wanted to do, not what I was expecting, and this definitely slowed me up. So all right, well, let me get back to it. All right, so I pulled the oil pan back off, resealed it around the ends of it, and I'm gonna get help putting it on this time. So I just felt like it'd be better if I pull it off and make sure it's sealed versus putting it on there and hoping that it's sealed, because oil pan is something that you definitely don't want to get wrong, because you have to pull the engine back out in order to fix it. And once this engine goes in, I really don't want to pull it out. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I got it on there good. So all right, got the oil pan on, got everything on nice and tight, drilled out the bolts, put in new bolts, and I'm getting ready to cover the engine back up now. And that's gonna wrap it up for this video. The next video, I should be getting ready to drop it in the car. Okay, long day at the shop. It doesn't feel like I accomplished a lot, but I actually did a lot. You see what I got, the headers, I test fitted the headers, I got the oil pan on, got the little adapter put into the oil pan. I broke off 2 oil pan bolts because there's a little bracket that goes on the outside of the pan, and I didn't put that bracket on there. So when I was trying to screw the bolts in, they still left a gap in the pan. They wasn't going all the way in, and of course I was using an impact wrench, which you shouldn't use, because on a bolt that small, it'll definitely snap them off, as we saw. So I had to drill those bolts out, replace them, and then put the pan on. I put the brackets back on the pan like I was supposed to, and I hand tightened it because I didn't want to snap off any more bolts. So I hand tightened it and got that on there. So everything is good. I think that's all I wanted to do in this video. I just didn't expect it to take this long, but I finally got it done. And in the next video, hopefully we'll be able to get this engine put in the car. If not, I want to clean up the engine bay, get that painted and everything, and then push the car in the shop and then drop the engine down in it. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next video. Click that subscribe button if you haven't. Click that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.